Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm starting on a new project. It's an occasional table, something like that. It's going to go behind a couch in a big open living room, and you put your keys on it and the plant, stuff like that. I drew this up in my Shaper 3D program. I might have a video about that someday, but the Shaper 3D program is awesome for me. I tried the other one, SketchUp. I couldn't figure it out. My brain didn't function that way, but my brain functions really well with Shaper 3D. It's a different process. I'll go into that someday. But this thing is, I forget what I'll tell. It's like the height of a couch. It's like 24, 25 inches. It's about 4 feet long and about a foot wide or deep, however you like it, something like that. And so I and the man wanted to match his fireplace as much as he could. My best guess on the fireplace is that it's alder. I and it's a darker stain. So I went and got some alder, and what I've done so far, I've got a top surface and I've got a lower surface. The top one's going to be a little bit wider, the lower one a little bit narrower. So they have I didn't just want to do two planks or what I bought was one of them was like 8 inches wide and the others are closer to 6 inches wide. But I thought just to give it a little more character, I'm going to break it down into four segments. This is essentially the top. I've already looked at all the sides and figured out which one I want up, which way I like the grain going. First of all, I cross cut them a little bit extra long, a few inches long. Um, and then I ripped them down on my table saw. And then I brought them over here to the joiner and I passed them through to get nice, clean, flat edges. And everything mates up really well. There's hardly a gap. Whatever gap is there will close with just the slightest effort. And I've got my clamp set up. I'm going to do a glue up here. And then I've got the other three for the lower shelf. And the lower shelf, I want to intentionally have some distressed wood, kind of a live edge, but not a full live edge. But I want it to kind of look like driftwood or beechwood or something that washes up on the shore. This one had a nice distressed edge on it, and I think with my cuts all shaper, I think I could shape some distress marks on it because it'll be the lower shelf and it'll have a little character. The top shelf will be a little more proper, and the lower shelf will have a little more character. And I think that's going to look real nice. So the lower one's a little narrower. The rips are a little narrower than these. These are 2 3/4, and these are 2 1/4. So we have those differences. And anyway, two glue ups to do to get started. So there we go. Two panels glued up, not the prettiest thing in the world, but they're going to be fine. So I've got the two planks surfaces out of the clamps. They look pretty good. I've got my imperfect edge over here and here. And for the legs, I've got these two 1x4s glued up, clamped down, the same kind of thing, because I want the legs to be at least 1 inch thick and not 3/4 of an inch. And so I might run this through the planer, surface planer a few times to bring that 1.5 inches down, an inch or maybe 1.25 inches, something like that. I'll figure it out. But in the meantime, I wanted to get started on sanding these, and this was the better top, the A side, the top side. And I've got an 80 grit paper in my ETS 150. It cleaned up pretty well. This auger sands easily, and the sander sands very well. There's going to be some more sanding later. I had an idea while I was driving. Instead of just squaring this up, I thought, what if I put a little curve on it? And I have a little curve. I have a very nice soft radius. Something like that might just be perfect. I just need to get some square marks on here and line the inside up or even the outside up. And then I could rough cut it with the jigsaw or the bandsaw, and then use this as a template for the router to give it a nice perfect edge. And that is, now that I look at that on there, that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's going to be it's a nice little detail. I got this new router bit. I haven't used it yet. It's like a plunge cutting bit, upcut, spiral. I'll leave a link to it. But it has the bearing on top. And what I'm going to do is put my pattern back on here, and the bearing will ride on the pattern and hopefully cut that nice and beautiful. Okay, I sanded the surface relatively smooth, and I went over to the bandsaw. There was already this live edge on the side, and I want to make, this is the lower shelf. I want to make this look like driftwood or something like that, like a found piece of wood. So I just kind of made a mediocre little rough cut. And then I got my cut saw shaping wheel. This is the one I have. I'll have to look up exactly which one this is, and I'll provide a link. Got the guard on. It fits comfortably in my grinder, my 4-inch grinder. And I want to continue this wane. I started doing that here, and it was pretty soft. It just melted right through. And I think that's about what I want to do on the top, but on the bottom, I want to like bevel it back some. So here, let me do this. Honestly, that ain't bad either. I can leave some of that. I'm still going to sand it some. I got a little wire brush here. You know what? Can you see that? It's a little indentation. I think it's perfect. And then the other side, I'm still going to dig some of that soft material out, but I'm very happy with this. Okay, now we're getting into the other sections of this table. I've got the top cut. roughed out. I've got the lower shelf done. I had my two 1x4s glued up together overnight. I took those out, ripped them down, planed them down. I put a 5-degree miter on here. So the legs are going to essentially go like that when that stops wobbling. Just a little bit of outward splay. The next thing I'm going to do is I've got this one that's 1.75 inches wide by 3/4 stock. And this is the apron upon which the tabletop rests. And it's going to have a little taper on each end. I need that taper to be consistent. So I got out my tapering jig, slide right in, lock it down like that, and we're going to cut. Open it up and move. As simple as that. So that will be the apron on either side. I'm going to take this to the oscillating sander and put just a gentle curve on there. I'm going to leave this nice and sharp. So here I got one mortise plunged in. I've got the legs clamped onto the aprons on each side. They're glued and clamped. And I figured while they're in the clamps, I could go ahead and plow out this mortise. I measured up from the bottom 5.5 on all 4 of these. And I want the mortise dead center. So this is 1.75 inches. So I marked 7/8. And then the center of the bit is 10 millimeters from the edge of the plate. So then I marked 10 millimeters right there. And I don't want to have the tool or the mortise parallel with the leg because the leg's on a 5-degree taper. So I did something like this. I brought this over, even though it's a little imperfect. Actually, I'm kind of glad I did it. So I got a line that way, which will mean eventually these stretchers are going to be placed into here. They're going to have a mortise in it also. On the bottom, I'm going to have a mid stretcher to help support everything. And they won't be on some kind of miter or bevels or nothing like that. So that's what's going on here. Okay, the final stretcher. I hope this goes okay. That one and that one. Something like that. Something like that. Now, I'm glad that went without any trouble so far. So now, when I place the shelf in here, I want to put it on top of these. I got some stainless steel sleeves, so it's kind of floating. but I've taken the sleeves and painted them to make them dark so they don't stand out at you. But I want to drill a 1/2 inch hole to hold those sleeves in position. Kind of like that. And the sleeve will fit right in there, and I can put a screw from the inside here grabbing the lower shelf. And then these won't shift around. It's going to be awesome. A couple of sleeves here, here, which will eventually be painted black. And then when this shelf goes in, it's going to be equally spaced on the sides. It's going to be kind of floating in there. Look at that. That's going to be very nice. It will be floating. The stain's going to be dark, so I'm going to paint the sleeves black. It's going to be a nice look. Just the lower shelf. It's going to hang past a little. It's a little imperfect. It's very much imperfect. It's going to look like driftwood. I might call this the driftwood table. I did make the mistake on this mortise right here, but no one's ever going to see that. Or maybe that's where you hang your keys or something. So anyway, I still have a little fine tuning on the top. And at the same time, it's about time to start staining. I like my gentle curve I put on there, but what I want to do is put like a 60-degree bevel, back bevel on here. It's going to kind of have a relationship with this. On these sides, I'm just going to pass this through the joiner and then put my 3/32 round over. I think that'll be all right. I just would like this bevel here. I could almost do that with a 45-degree bevel. So here she is, the finished product. I've got my distressed looking wood at the bottom, rather floating. Similar thing on this end. I think it looks pretty decent. The top has a gentle little curve on the end with a little back bevel on the edge. I think that's going to work out all right. So I didn't show the final assembly of everything. I was running out of time. It was hot as can be. I didn't show the staining or the polyurethane, but you kind of understand how that goes. It's the correct stain. I knew what I was matching, and I matched it pretty well. And then I put like 3 coats of polyurethane with some sanding in between. I think it turned out really well. I'm happy with it. Some of this is new territory for me. I don't know exactly what methods are preferred. I knew what I wanted to achieve, and I achieved it very well with a few curveballs here and there and a few change of plans here and there on the fly. But I'm really happy with it, and I hope the customer's happy. And I really appreciate everyone tuning in. This has been good for me. One thing for sure, I need to learn some more about finishing. The stain was one thing, but maybe the conditions are wrong. But maybe my dusty shop is wrong. I'm sure there's a few things I could learn. Maybe the products I'm using are wrong, but I feel like these things could be better. That's all I'm saying. I'm happy with it, but certainly it could be better. And I think about that more with the finish than anything else. I like the product and drew it up on Shaper 3D, and here it is in real life. Again, thanks for staying tuned. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you on the next one.